somewhere that's more enjoyable for you. But if you like, if you feel like an inkling that you enjoy what we're saying and what we're bringing, um, even if you don't fully understand it, it's okay. You know, just we're not doing this to monetize. You know, we're kind of retired from that grind and hustle, and also these videos are partly our creative output that gives us a sense of purpose and mission, and it's really nice to have that. Not in an aggressive way or, you know, climbing a mountain and get to the top. It's just our journey. Journey with us.
Oh, it's recording again.
Is it recording again? Hello. We're back. Hello. Peace be with you. Namaste.
No, that was a mistake. I don't know why he started.
Oh, hey, it's Maria. There's Maria.
But it started by accident. You wanna keep going?
No, it's okay. You can turn it off if you don't want.
No.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, this was a start by accident, but we take it.
All right, this is I'm Mark.
I'm Maria.
And we're JuicyMagiK and this is JuicyMagiK on the daily. So day 2, welcome. As they say in some African language, Jambo. I like that. Jambo.
Jambo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Namaste. We say Haribo. Chant the names of God.
I thought namaste means thank you.
Well, namaste is also like the light or the divine within me greets the divine within you. You're kind of bowing, you know.
So it's a hello, actually.
You know, you're bowing to the divinity, to God. I mean, God follows us all in our hearts as the Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. He follows every living entity. It's amazing, the inconceivable powers of God. He's distinct in his abode, and yet he's with every living entity at the same time. And this is the foundation of our practice, is Lord Chaitanya's Achintya, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva, which means simultaneous oneness and distinction.
You use this word a lot, so let's make that the question of today.
Okay.
Please elaborate of the Achintya, Bheda, Tattva term.
Achintya, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva.
Achintya, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva.
So, Lord Chaitanya appeared with his devotees in Bengal in the late 16th century, in the late 1500s.
So there was only...
It was very recent, only 500 odd years ago. And
yeah.
The beautiful thing, I mean, we don't wish to discredit or talk, we don't need to talk about any other scriptures or faiths. You know, I've had the opportunity to read on pretty much every scripture I can think of that's out there. But the reason we really love the teachings of Lord Chaitanya is because they're so recent, and he's very little known around the world. Like, for instance, one of our teachers who we love very much, Yeshua ben Yusuf, Emmanuel, the Mashiach of Bethlehem, there's a long time ago, and there was a lot of years between when what he did was written down, or what he, and then of course the Council of Nicaea in 325. It's endless. We don't really know for sure. The continuity of those teachings has been broken. We don't have a living representative in that lineage that we know of. And so having living representatives who still belong to the sampradaya, that's the disciplic succession. In other words, we're here to share something, which to some degree means we're teaching. And if you're teaching, you should have a teacher who had a teacher who had a teacher who had a teacher. You know, if we're saying, you know, you need a teacher, so to speak, then we should also have teachers. And we do have spiritual masters and a lineage. So they are related to Lord Chaitanya, Gauranga, Nimai. Lord, he was born under a neem tree, which we recently visited in a very amazing
We
place.
visited 2 neem trees
Yeah.
because there are 2
There's a little-
places that claim to be his birthplace.
Yeah, there's 2 neem trees.
And
One
I
in
would-
Navadvip and the other
yeah,
in Mayapur. So
it's really funny.
it's kind of funny, you know. The beautiful thing about spiritual life is that you have to take everything. There is a sense of humor in everything, and not the subject matter is very serious. You know, we're living in a material world which has birth, old age, disease, and death baked into the code. And add frickin' taxes. Jeez, there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of suffering everywhere you go. I notice people are suffering from, in the scriptures, they say that you suffer from bodily distress. Distresses are the mind, other living entities, and then natural disasters, which are often referred to as the demigods, are those forces that are much bigger than us, more powerful, and they can toss and turn us in a heartbeat, whether through an earthquake or a volcano lava flow. And I've seen lava flow, and boy. So Maria's question, Achintya, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva. This is the fundamental, at the time when Lord Chaitanya appeared, people in the Bharat, in the land of Bharat, in India, what is now India, and in the parts of Bangladesh and parts of Nepal, they were all one kingdom, and people debated and philosophical and religious rhetoric. That was like the Olympics. It was really valued, it was pursued, it was appreciated. And throughout history, there's always been a bit of a dichotomy between people that are the monists, and then there's the people that believe that, so the monists are like, we're all one, there's oneness, we're all one together, there's this oneness, we're one with God, we're one with everything. But the aspect of that philosophy that's not quite full is that then how do we equate for karma, for individual karma? Like if I'm just one with everything, then how come I'm getting different results than Maria? In the modern terms, we do like the economist Thomas Sowell. We talk about the difference between equality of opportunity and then this crazy wanting of equality of outcome, which reduces everybody to the lowest common denominator. And we see this in communism and failed states, where everyone becomes impoverished by this trying to have equality of outcome. We're all individuals. And so the other side was always arguing, no, we're always distinct. There's the living entities and there's God, and we're always separate. And Lord Chaitanya came to really give the perfection of knowledge, which really in it describes metaphysics really, really well. You observe something. Is it a particle? Is it a wave? Is it both?
That's a good example.
Yeah, and he came
It
really.
is both.
He came to give the perfect philosophy, understanding of the nature of reality, the living entity in God, and that was Achintya, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva. We are simultaneously one with God, qualitatively. We have all the qualities of God in small amounts, but quantitatively we are distinct. God is definitely much greater, also much smaller, much better, much faster on a quantity level. And so we are distinct as living entities, and yet we're one with God through our qualities, the qualities that we have from Him. We're like sparks from a fire. We aren't the fire, but we come from the fire, and we retain all the wonderfulness of the fire, but in small amounts. Or we're like a drop of salt water in the ocean. We have all the saltiness of the ocean, but in very small quantity.
We're not the ocean.
And we're not the ocean. The ocean's made up of all these particles, but there's... And that doesn't... I mean, obviously, those analogies are impersonal. But we're talking about the Supreme Person as a person. We're persons eternally. There'll never be a time when we don't exist.
I really like the example that you gave yesterday, that when you lose your leg,
Oh, yeah.
you're blind, you don't have eyesight anymore. You're still the same person.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we're going to go down the rabbit hole every day with the foundation of simultaneously one yet distinct, and then also breaking down, like, who are we? What's our true identity? And once we can have an experience or a glimpse into our true identity, it really obliterates all the false temporary identities that we fight about. and over. Man, woman, old, young, black, white, gay, straight, Hindu, Muslim, blah, 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 blah. All these shirt labels. So we'll go down that rabbit hole. It's a fun rabbit hole.
Yeah, but let's stay with the question.
Yeah, so simultaneously one yet distinct from God. That describes perfectly the living entity and the Supreme Being. That there is oneness. And there's also oneness, for instance, between husband and wife. We got married, but we didn't merge into a blob. We didn't And you'll often see Jesus doing this. It means there's two. In order for there to be oneness, there has to be distinction first. There needs to be two in order to have oneness.
We feel one sometimes, but we're still in separate bodies.
Yeah, and there's oneness in spirit. We have an external, it's internal as well, but we have an agreement together that that's what a marriage is. There's a oneness there in direction, a oneness in spirit, and yet there is still distinction.
I also like the example that you gave with the wallet.
Oh, is that where yeah.
Oh, I have my wallet with my money, and you have your wallet with your money.
Yeah.
And if we would be one, I could just say, "Give me your wallet. We're one."
Yeah.
So
Since I'm you and you're me, give me your wallet, and I'll just, that the hard truth and facts is when people are espousing this oneness philosophy that we're all just one.
And then one spouse runs away with all the
money, or whatever. So, I can call out people like that and say, well, that just get me to stop talking. If you're me and I'm you.
Oh, try that. That's impossible.
Right? Yeah. So
I tried
so
that.
Clearly there is still distinction within oneness, and so we have often most of the time we're really in harmony and agreement. That's oneness in spirit, and yet Maria's still Maria. She has her karma. She has to reap and sow and reap. And I have to sow and reap and sow. That's my karma. And I don't inherit her karma, and she doesn't inherit mine. It's like in the Bible. In the Bible, they say that, the sons don't... I think it's in the Bible, but I've heard it said that, the son or the daughter, they don't inherit the sins of the parent. We each have our own karma to work out, good and bad, to reap and sow and reap. The whole point is to get off that wheel. And... that's where the teachings of Lord Chaitanya for us are the most sublime. They're the most relishable, the most wonderful, the most mystical and magical, and the most applicable on a day-to-day level. Simply, our main meditation practice is simply hearing and repeating God's names. And then there are some what they call regulative principles that we really genuinely try to follow. A base, in yoga they're called yamas and niyamas, do's and don'ts. In some other cultures, they may be considered kosher, non-kosher, halal, haram. Like, do this and don't do that. And we have some very basic ones, and we can go into those too. And we can talk about why. Why do we try to follow the regulative principles? And 4 of them in particular. And they're not the be-all, end-all. They're just the beginning. They're the foundation. And so, on our journey, we want to share the foundational aspects of what has brought us a lot of peace and a lot of freedom and a lot of joy.
Yeah, I can just let you be.
Yeah, and there's a lot of freedom. We don't mean freedom. There's freedom from and freedom to. And both are important. And, as Bob Dylan said, you got to serve somebody. So why not serve the highest, the most high? And having more information about that person and their representatives is really amazing. We've found that through the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and our lineage that we have received the most information.
Can you say that one prayer?
Which one?
No, the one that you keep repeating and singing.
Oh, the third prayer of Lord Chaitanya.
The third one?
Yeah. So back to Lord Chaitanya. I mean, he was the most. I don't think words can describe what an incredible being he is, and miracles and all those things. But one of the greatest gifts and miracles for me is that, despite being one of the greatest scholars of all time and extremely erudite and fantastically, really superior to every other person he encountered when it came to rhetoric and logic and argument, he defeated everybody. He only left 8 prayers. 8 prayers. They're known as the Shikshashtaka. And the third prayer, which we can repeat and offer, it's really nice to memorize it. I mean, I wish I could embody it, but it helps me before I chant on my beads or before we do Gauranga or we do what's called Kirtan, where we sing God's names together. This is known as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Shmarnam, hearing, repeating, and remembering God's names, the first 3 of 9 really devotional practices, which lead to ultimately to self and God realization on the highest level. This third prayer that we use from Lord Chaitanya, it's really quite wonderful. I try to repeat it every day a few times, and it goes like this. Haribol. It goes, good. It goes like this. One should chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, feeling oneself to be lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the names of the Lord. One can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. And just meditating on this prayer alone, so much can come from it on an ever increasing level.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's a reminder too that what the end goal is not to be some sort of, big wig, big shot, super high, better than others. It's actually really to be looking up at God and God's creation and all of the living entities with sincere admiration, respect, and love for who that person really is, the living entity, part and parcel of the Supreme Person, spark of the big fire, amazingly drop of water from an ocean of divinity, light, and love. And with that, we're going to sign off for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark, and
I'm Maria.
And this is we're JuicyMagiK, and this is JuicyMagiK on the Daily. So we'll see you tomorrow. And whether it's afternoon, evening, or night, or morning, doesn't matter. We'll try to film at really nice, auspicious times. And we hope that you enjoy our company and the company of others who are simply trying to engage in this process of sadhana bhakti.
Yeah, thank you. And namaste.
Namaste. Haribol. See you later. That was number 2.
That was number 2.
How long was that?